Let's talk to God. One more thing, like, subscribe, and share. Come on, let's talk to God. Woo!
Hey, good evening, everybody. How's everybody doing on this Thursday? Let me know how you're doing. It's Cutler here on the Let's Talk to Cutler broadcast, the Let's Talk to Cutler virtual book club, the Let's Talk to Cutler YouTube channel. It's the 2nd of February. Happy February. Happy Healthy Heart Month. Happy Black History Month. Happy Love Month. Happy all of those things. It's just another month that we are in, not just another month as in we're downplaying it, but it's another month that we've made it to. And I don't know about y'all, but I'm just glad to be here, glad to still be alive, glad to have made it. And so I just wanted to check in and see how you guys are doing. You know, the last time we were here, I asked, how's everybody doing? And I said I wanted to take the time to stop and have us all answer that question, because as we were doing a self-inventory from January into now, it was about stopping to see how we are really doing. And that's what we do on this channel. We come here to inspire, to motivate, and to challenge each other to show up a little bit better tomorrow than we did yesterday or even today, and to make sure that we've shown up better today than we did yesterday. I think I start putting it like this, making sure that we have a conversation so we can grab some nuggets to make sure that we're doing everything that we can do to make sure that we show up our best selves, even in the worst of situations. I think that's going to be my mantra for the year. In addition to giving myself grace and space, I'm going to make sure that I do everything that I can to make sure that I show up my best self, even in the worst of situations. So that's you. If that's something that you want to do, make sure that you join us for the ride, because we're here every Tuesday, every Thursday live for about 1,800 seconds, doing what we can to make sure that we inspire, motivate, and challenge. A lot of times people are here for the motivation, they're here for the inspiration, but not so much for the challenge. But can I tell you, it is the challenge that makes you better. It is the challenge that pushes you out of your comfort zone. It is your challenge that causes you to dare to be different. It is the challenge that causes you to dare to be a little more bold. It is the challenge that causes you to dare to walk into victories that you didn't even know that you had, and successes that you never even thought about realizing. So make sure that while you're here for the motivation and the inspiration, that you're here for the challenges as well. So tell somebody, come on, let's talk to Cutler. That guy talks about real things, real life, real people, real situations. We that's what we just have to do. And if you have not already subscribed, why haven't you subscribed yet? What's that all about? Why haven't you subscribed yet? Do me a favor, go on and subscribe. And once you subscribe, click on the notification bell, because it lets you know whenever I've gone live, whenever I've uploaded new content. I just have to say all of those things, because I want you to be aware. I want you to be a part of my life. I want to be a part of your life. On this platform, we are really saving people's lives. You all are encouraging my life. You are inspiring my life. So let's make this thing reciprocal. Let's make it mutual. All right. And listen, do me a favor. If you're in the chat tonight, because we're going to talk about how to be more daring. Tell somebody, if you know someone who does not like to take chances, if you know someone who does not like to get out of their comfort zone, go and get them. Tell them to come on, let's talk to Cutler, because tonight we're going to talk about how to be more daring. And I'll tell you why in just a moment. I chose that as a topic for our conversation today. But before I do that, you all, let me see who's over in the chat. Over here for me. Oh, no, over here. Let me see who's in the chat. Let me see who beat me in the chat. Those are who I call the LTTC VIPs. So let's talk to Cutler, very important persons. Of course, everybody is an important person, but I just want to see who won the race. Linda Martin says, good evening, everyone. Did I miss my ride? No, Linda, you didn't miss the ride. You were just early. You just beat me in the chat tonight. So it's good to see you. And then my good friend Raydella Lewis, it is always good to see you. Raydella says, hi all. And then Andy Cutler says, let's ride. So it's good to see everybody. We talked last time about, how was the month of January? Did you do an inventory? We did self-care. We did self-check-in. We checked in on ourselves to see how we were doing. And of course, when we realized that we talked about this whole notion of failure, and we did. And I'm not going to repeat everything. That's why I want y'all to go back and catch the replay. You got to be here. You got to meet me every Tuesday and Thursday. And if you're not here every Tuesday and Thursday, catch the Tuesday on Wednesday and catch the Thursday on Friday, or sometimes before the next Tuesday. All right. But let me ask you this, because I talked about how did we do, and sometimes we have to redefine failures. If you missed our last conversation, you might want to go back and catch the last conversation, because we talked about this whole notion of redefining failure and what failure looks like, so that way we don't find ourselves saying that I failed and I'm a failure. And I said in our last conversation, just because I failed does not make me a failure. What makes me a failure is my lack of willingness to get up and try again. But failing in and of itself does not cast a label on me as a failure. Absolutely not. Not here on this platform. So we just denounced the typical denotation and connotation of failure, and we're just redefining it. All right. Because sometimes you have to redefine failure in your own life, because if not, people call you a failure, and that's not what I am. That is not what I am. But before doing that, go back and catch that. Go back and watch that. But let's talk tonight about how to be more daring. Tell me if you consider yourself, on a scale of 1 to 10. You all work with me tonight over in the chat, because I want to see what you all say about yourselves. Would you consider yourself a daring person? How daring are you on a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being not daring at all, 10 being absolutely daring? I'm willing to do new things. I'm willing to try new things that I have not done before. 1 is no, absolutely not. I don't take chances. If I don't know it, I'm not going to try to come out of my comfort zone. So on a scale of 1 to 10, you all start telling me over in the chats, how daring are you? I'm going to watch those chats. I'm going to watch your comments, and then I'm going to go on and keep talking, because I think it is a good thing to become daring. And have you ever said to yourself, I wish I could do this, I wish I could do that? And your conversation, your vernacular is filled with so many I wish I could, until sometimes we don't stop to say, you know what, I really can. What's holding me back? What's preventing me? What's prohibiting me from doing the thing that I said I wish I could? Listen, in 2023, it is about casting off, not losing control, but it's about casting off some of the restraints. It is about walking out of the prisons that we sometimes lock ourselves in. Learn. You have the key to release yourselves out of a lot of the prisons that you put yourself in. No, there was no bailiff, there was no sheriff, there was no officer, there was no one else put us in some of these prisons except us. And here we are standing behind, as it were, we're standing behind these prison bars and these cells when we're holding the key in our hands. We are holding the key because we opened the door and pushed ourselves in. So this is the year. Everybody else is giving, creating all these thematic expressions for 2023. Let's create one for ourselves. This is the year when I walk out of those self-imposed prisons. This is the year when I walk out of those jail cells that I lock myself in. This is the year when I am not going to be confined to the penitentiary that nobody put me in except for me. How are we going to do it, Cutler? We're going to be more daring, and we're going to stop saying less, I wish I could, I wish I would, and we're just going to do it. What stops us from doing it? Let's talk about some of the things that stops us from doing it, and then maybe we can really talk about how to be a little more daring and a little more bold. Tell me, would you like to be a little more daring in 2023 than you were in 2022? Some of us are fine with where we are, where we were, and what we did, but there are others of us who really want to do other things and wish we could do other things. So you all start talking to me. Let's see. Lynn says, I think I might be a 5. I like my comfort zone, but if asked or something is presented to me, I will accept. Good for you. Good for you, Lynn. Yes, if asked, I would do something. So sometimes we don't necessarily initiate things, but if we are asked, we would do it. How can we be, I'm going to read the comments, but I'm going to keep on talking, y'all. How can we be a little more daring? One of the things we can do, Sylvia, I see what you said. I see you said that you are 5 too. You all talk to me. How do you rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10? But if you want to be more daring, how do we become more daring? One of the things that we can do, what stops me is I'm afraid of failure. Lynn, go back and catch the if you weren't with me, my friend, on the last broadcast, how to handle failure, how to deal with this whole fear of failure. go back and let's and watch that, catch that replay, and we'll talk about this whole notion of dealing with failure, because yeah, just go back and catch that. But one of the ways that we could be more daring is to stop being scared of looking foolish. A lot of times we won't do things because we are afraid of looking foolish. One of my sister-in-laws refuses to go out eating by herself. Sometimes when my brother is on travel, she will not go to a restaurant by herself. She just will not do it. I, on the other hand, I'll go to a theater, I'll go to a church, I'll go to a restaurant, I often say I was born alone, I'll die alone. And I don't mean without having somebody in my life. I just mean as an individual. But stop being so scared of looking foolish. Some of us won't get out and jog, we won't get out and exercise, we won't get out and do a whole lot of things because we are scared of looking foolish. May I tell you all this? After my foot injury and reconstructing my ankle, I did not walk as what I think I didn't walk as smoothly as I did before, because I have these titanium rods in my foot, and so my balance is sometimes off, and I feel it when I walk. But guess what? I was so I was so conscious about how I looked walking until for a time I wouldn't get out and walk. And then one day I had to get beyond that and said, you know what? Nobody's really paying that much attention to you, Cutler. Get out and do your own thing. Don't worry about how you look. Sometimes we won't go places because we think people are looking at us. And many of you know that I did a lot of walking on the National Mall in the Washington, D.C. area. And guess what? People are out there from all over the world. Nobody was paying me any attention. Just move on and don't work. Stop being so scared of looking foolish, because when you're scared of looking foolish, that means you think that people are staring at you. You think that people are looking at you. But from time to time, you look around whenever you go to a restaurant and you see if people are staring at you. They're not looking at you. They're looking at their food. They're looking at the people that they're sitting at the tables with. I'm just offering that to you. I'm trying to help us stop being so scared of looking foolish. Some people won't go to the gym. And I got to tell you all this. This is true confession. I'm one of those. I haven't quite made it in the gym on a regular basis, because that's one of the things I'm thinking, oh my God, when I'm sweating and huffing and puffing, I just think that people are going to look at me and see me. We don't like to be seen in what looks like vulnerable moments. So it's not only are we scared of looking foolish, we're scared of looking vulnerable. All right. But in terms of going out alone and just being afraid that people, that you're going to look a certain ways in the eyes of people, those people, I dare say, they're probably not paying your rent or your mortgage. They're not paying for your car, your clothing, or your food. Don't give too much power and energy to people that you don't even know. Because what happens, here comes a challenge. What happens is we start thinking that people are going to think of us what we think of other people. So if we were not so busy, and you all, I just have to say this because I hope this is going to help us tonight. Sometimes we look at people and say, they sure do look foolish. And that's the problem. We think that the way we talk about other folk are going to talk about us. That's what happens. We say they look silly. They shouldn't be out here. They look like this and they look like that. And so now we are afraid that people are saying the same thing of us. But here's the challenge. Let's stop saying that about others. Let's stop saying that about others, and we won't worry about others saying that about us. All right, I got to keep on going. But if you want to be more daring, stop being scared of looking a certain way, of looking foolish. And then here's another thing, y'all. Give yourself permission. We go through our whole lives from time to time. We go through our whole lives trying to get permission from other people to do a certain thing, looking for validation when we do a certain thing. But do you not realize that the only person that you need permission from is yourself? That is a key that should have unlocked a lot of jail cells that we put ourselves in. I need to see what so and so thinks. I need to see what so and so thinks. I need to get so and so's opinion. I need to get so and so's permission. No, you don't. And needing to get so and so's permission, need to see what so and so thinks, causes you to walk into a jail cell, and you walk in holding the key, standing there in that jail cell with the key. But I'm listen. The only thing I'm doing tonight is just grabbing your hand and say, look, you got the key. The key is in your hand. Walk out of that jail cell from thinking that you need everybody else's permission to take care of you. Give yourself permission. Because as children, as young folk, we are so indoctrinated with this thing of having to ask for permission for just about anything that we want to do. And then what happens, Cutler? We enter and we grow into adulthood with that same mentality, thinking that we need approval or consent from other people before we can move on, before we can do anything. It's that same childlike mentality that we come into adulthood with. I need to get their permission. I need to get their consent. No, you don't. The only person that you need to get permission from is yourself. And again, that's a key that we should use to unlock the cell that we put ourselves in. You don't need everybody's permission. You don't. Give yourself permission to be bold, to be daring. I got to keep on going. Take that key back from somebody else that you just gave it away. I need to get your permission. No, you don't. No, you don't. I'm just trying to help save somebody's life tonight, because really we end up imprisoning ourselves unnecessarily. I only have 1,800 seconds. Let me keep going. Some of y'all still haven't told me on a scale of 1 to 10 how you think you are in terms of being daring. Y'all talk to me. Help me out tonight. And then here's something else that you can do in terms of, if you want to be more daring, go ahead and start before you think you're ready. Well, Cutler, that certainly doesn't make sense. A lot of times we think, before I can do this, I have to cross all of my T's, dot all of my I's before I can get ready to do this, before I can move on. Thank you, Paula. Paula D says you're a 6. I got you. So far I have a couple 5s and a 6. Y'all talk to me. How did you rate yourself? But back to this. Start before you think you're ready. Just go ahead and get started, because sometimes you are waiting for things to happen. And you say, I would do this when things happen. Well, sometimes maybe it's not necessarily a condition. I'm going to toss out these words, take them and look them up, look up these concepts, because maybe it's not a condition precedent. Maybe it is a condition subsequent that needs to take place. Cutler, what are you saying? A condition precedent means that I will get started when this happens. So before I can get started, there has to be this condition ahead of time, which means it is a condition precedent. But maybe life is waiting for you to get started. And then once you get started, life will come along and back you up. And what life is going to do now is backing up what you've already started. So now that's what we call a condition subsequent. All right. Jay Song for you says, I would give myself a 7 for being daring, except for when it comes to food. Interestingly enough, I was talking about some people in particular earlier when I was having dinner. I posed the question to my sister-in-law, and I asked her, are the majority of your friends, do they shy away from doing new things, or are they more daring? So sometimes it's a matter of, what do our friends do? Paula D says a 6 because I went on a zip line in Haiti over water. That pushed the 5 to a 6. I bet that did push the 5 to a 6. Absolutely. Zip lining in and of itself, but then zip lining over water, and then zip lining in a different country. I got you. Yeah, that might push your, definitely push your 5 up to a 6. But y'all think about this. We've heard this whole notion of the definition of insanity is doing the same thing and expecting different results. And if you want to get different results, you've got to do different things. And if you're going to do different things, that means you have to push yourself out of your comfort zone. If you're going to push yourself out of your comfort zone, that means you have to be more daring. And so Cutler is having this conversation with us tonight about how to be a little more daring. So again, remember, it's all a matter of making sure that you stop being so scared of looking a certain way, of looking foolish, of looking awkward, of looking uncomfortable. And the second thing is making sure that you give yourself permission because you're the only one who needs to give yourself permission. And then the third thing that we've talked about so far is start before you think you're ready. Don't wait, because sometimes you can sit along the sidelines and just wait. Do you not know that if you are really going to soar, you can never soar until you're willing to uproot? And that's the problem for a whole lot of us. We are afraid to uproot. But again, do you know that you can't soar unless you are willing to uproot? And uprooting is sometimes uncomfortable. Uprooting stretches and pulls and bends at the core of who I am, but it does not change my constitution. So go on and get started. Even if you think that you're not ready, go ahead and get started. What else, Cutler, can you talk about in terms of how to be a little more daring? Well, one of the things I can say is just constantly push against your comfort zone. Just do it. Constantly push against your comfort zone. Why would you say that, Cutler? Because nobody knows that you're uncomfortable except you. Nobody can split you in half and say, oh, he's uncomfortable, she's uncomfortable. Nobody sees that but you. Take that to heart, you all. Nobody sees your discomfort. So whether you go to a new restaurant, whether you go exploring, whether you go dancing, whether you try a new sport, nobody knows you're uncomfortable except you. And you don't have to announce to the world, "Ooh, I've never done this before. I'm a little nervous about it. I'm uncomfortable." You don't have to announce that to the world, because that's you pushing against you. And it's not you pushing against anybody else. You're not in a race against anybody else. You're only in a race with yourself. Jay Song for you says, I cannot push against my comfort zone because my stomach won't let me, Jesus. Well, maybe not necessarily. I think you the one you said you're daring except for when it comes to food. Well, yeah, okay. Well, then don't. My mother would probably say, well, just take a tablespoon of Pepto-Bismol, and listen, that's not advocacy or a commercial for Pepto-Bismol, but my mother would just say, take a dose of Pepto-Bismol and then just go in and eat what you can and just keep on going. But I would probably add to that, take Pepto-Bismol and stay near the restroom. But now I don't want people getting sick for trying stuff. So, that was just said in jest. But again, push against your comfort zone. Your comfort zone. Don't push against anybody else's comfort zone. No one knows the limits of what makes you comfortable better than you. So be willing to push against your comfort zone. Then what else would you have to say to us tonight, Cutler? One of the things I want to say is change the rules. Cutler, you really sound like a radical in 2023. You told us earlier to redefine what failure looks like. Absolutely. And I will probably continue to say things like that. I didn't say break the rules, but I said learn how to change the rules from time to time. Stop thinking that you need to do things like they've always been done, or that you need to do things the way everyone else is doing them. Variety is the spice of life. So I've been told. So change the rules when you can. I'm not saying you have to do anything illegal. I'm not saying you have to do anything unethical, but change the rules when you can. Go against the grain sometimes if it's not harming anybody. Ask yourself, is it necessary to do this the same way that everybody else has always done it? Is it mandatory that I do things in this order? Let me tell you, I could not wait until I became an adult. Couldn't wait until I became an adult, because guess what? One of the first things that I remember doing as an adult, I ate my dessert first. Could not wait. I have a hefty appetite. So eating dessert is not going to spoil my taste buds for dinner. Absolutely not. I'm from the country, so I give this as an example. Give me a nice dish of banana pudding. I'm from the South, so I like old-fashioned baked banana pudding, and I don't like it necessarily to be refrigerated for a while. I'm just good out of the oven, let it become room temperature, even a little warm. So, but give me a nice bowl of banana pudding. I'm good with that. Oh, I'll eat the collard greens and the pork chops and the potato salad afterwards. But I'm fine with dessert. For change the rules. It's not necessary to do things in that order. If I were to do the opposite of what everybody else is doing, would that be catastrophic? Probably not. Is there any way I can insert who I am into the process of what I'm doing? Try to do that. Change the rules when you can. Redefine what normal looks like for you. Redefine what ordinary looks like for you. This means learn the rules. Know what the rules are. Absolutely. I'm an advocate and proponent of that. Know the rules. Learn them. And then ask yourself, is it necessary? Is it necessary to follow the crowd? It's not always necessary. I'm talking about how to be daring, more daring in 2023. If we're looking for different things, if we're looking for exciting things, if we're looking for new things. And then at least try to do something that you didn't think you could do. Linda says, I'm a 7 when it comes to speaking up and speaking out, but a 4 when it comes to water activities. We all have our limitations, Linda. I get it. Amen to you. You deserve first. I am a believer. Yeah. But one of the things I want us to do, you all, and I'm not going to be here much longer, but one of the things that I want us to do, I want us to be more daring. Because I want us to see that we have so much in us that we can do, so much more that we can do in 2023 that we didn't necessarily do in 2022. And I don't want us to stay locked in the prison. And then when we get to December of 2023, we start looking back, taking inventory, and say, Lord, I wish I would have done so-and-so. You know what? I could have done so-and-so. But Cutler's telling us at the beginning of the year, you can do it. Just go ahead and do it. Do something that you think you can't do. Well, I don't think I can draw anything but stick figures. Get you some paint, some crayons, some pencils, and go to sketching and do what you need to do what you want to do. I really would love to dance, but I have 2 left feet. Get that, put the music on and just go for it. Go take a class, do something. Find a friend who can dance and say, teach me how to dance. Do something you think you can. Hey, Auntie, how are you, my friend? It's so good to see you. I'm talking about how to be more daring. If we're looking for the wonders of what 2023 holds, sometimes those wonders are looking for us and they're calling for a response from us. They're calling for a reaction from us. I'm bad at public speaking, so I don't want to talk. I don't want to get out there and say anything. I can't possibly give a speech in front of 50 people. We'll start giving a speech in front of 5 people. I don't know if I give a speech in front of 5 people. We'll start in the mirror. Give a speech in front of the mirror and then move from the mirror, move to 5 people, then move to 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Stop saying what you can't do and say, I'm willing to try. And then not only be willing to try, but do. We have to be more daring. We have to be more bold. I can't run a 5K because I'm not really athletic. Well, if you can't run a 5K, run for 5 minutes. I'm just offering us options and alternatives to tap into the strength of who we really are, you all. Again, so many times we sit here on this platform and we're looking for the inspiration and we're looking for the motivation. And I try to deliver that content, but I also have to be true to myself and say, in addition to the inspiration, in addition to the motivation, there has to be some challenge that I offer us. Because we want to be better. And better comes when I challenge myself, when I dare to be better, when I lock myself out of those self-imposed prisons. Stop thinking that you're not daring because you are. Stop thinking that you're not bold because you are. Stop thinking that you're not strong because you are. Stop thinking that you're not victorious because you are. You already are. Now let's just live in and manifest what we already are. And here is I got to get out of here, you all, because if you really want to be more daring, hang out with daring people. Let's face it. Birds of a feather flock together. We tend to rub off on each other. So you have to ask yourself, like I asked my sister-in-law before I engaged in this conversation tonight, you have to ask yourself, if your friends are constantly shying away from new things, it's possible that you're going to do the same thing. What kind of friends do I have? Do I have friends who are constantly shying away from new things? But if you're part of a group of people, if you're part of a village, if you're part of a community that loves trying new things, then it is very probable that you're going to find yourself tagging right along, trying new things as well. That's why from time to time we do an inventory, like I talked about a few conversations ago. Who's in your village and whose village are you in? You don't have to kick people to the curb, but maybe you need to learn to expand your village. I want people in my village who are daring, because maybe there are times that I'm not. So let's take this to heart, you all. Y'all know I love you. Let's take this to heart. Let's be more daring. Later on, probably in a couple of weeks or so, I'm going to ask you all, what have you done in 2023 that you've never done before? Get ready, because I'm going to ask you all. We're going to talk about it. What have you done? In a few weeks, I'm going to ask you. I'm going to come back and ask you, because I'm going to remember, because I'm going to come back and watch. I'm going to catch the replay of this. I'm going to ask you, what have you done in 2023 that you've never done before? So start thinking now, what are some of the things that I want to do this year that I've never done before? What are some of the places I'd like to visit that I've never gone before? Think about it. Think about it. I want us to become more daring, because I want us to see the strength that we yield, that we wield. That's really what I want. All right. Listen, you all do me a favor. Keep building community. Help me build this community. Let's keep maintaining connectivity. Stay safe, stay sane. Know that from my heart to yours, there is and always will be so much love. Tell someone, come on and let's talk, because the man is trying to tell us how to become more daring. I want us to tap into the strength of all that we possess. I want us to be the people who don't possess potential, but we walk in the manifestation of what we once had the potential to do. I don't want anybody to look at us and say, oh, he had a whole lot of potential. She had a whole lot of potential. No, absolutely not. I want us to live and walk in the manifestation of the potential that we once had. I want potential to be a thing of the past, but I want the manifestation of it to be my reality in my present and in my future. Y'all, I got to keep going. I got to get out of here. I've already told you all that from my heart to yours, there is and always will be so much love. I mean it. Until the next time we talk, do me a favor, you all. Come here. Come on, lean in. Until the next time we talk, do me a favor. Tell somebody. Come on. Y'all know the rest of it. I got to go. Tell them, come on, let's talk to Cutler. I'll see you all the next time. Good night, everybody.